What's up, railroaders? It is Monday, March 11th here in Tennessee. I'm currently in Mount Pleasant, Tennessee, and it's like 8 p.m. And you guys know what that means. If I'm at a gas station in the middle of nowhere, I'm gonna go buy some trains. I've got a gentleman I'm meeting up with in Waynesboro, Tennessee right now to go pick up a collection. And in this video, we're gonna look at that collection, so stick around. I've done it again, guys. All right, guys, I am very happy to be back with another unboxing video, another big one, big collection for us to go through today. It's been a minute since I've gotten to sit behind the camera, behind the ring light, and look at some trains in front of you guys. And it's also been a while since we've had a really big collection. It's been probably a month, I would say, since I uploaded that last video covering Ed's dad's train store. But today we're gonna look at this massive collection I picked up in Waynesboro, Tennessee last night, as of recording this at least. It's probably gonna be about a week or so until I get this uploaded. We're gonna start with some HO items here. Here's an ATT car, very nice little armor reefer there. Here is an AHM car, nice little box on this. I don't get the short AHM boxes very much. This is, of course, being the old school Norfolk Southern gondola. Very cool little freight car there. We've got a couple out of box items here. I see wrapped in some paper towels. Up first is a super common Union Pacific hopper by Bachmann. This is one of the, ultra common freight cars, probably gonna be like a $3 car in the store, not anything super high end by any stretch. This again here is another very common one, the Santa Fe Caboose, also by Bachmann. Another $3 car there, so not a very expensive piece at all. But if you need a Santa Fe Caboose, I'm your guy. I feel like we're gonna have an engine in here, and I think if I'm gonna guess correctly, yes, it is our favorite engine here, sarcastically, the very common Santa Fe War Bonnet F unit, another Bachmann one, unfortunately from the stripped gear era that they had, and that's gonna be very inexpensive as well. Moving on here, something slightly less common. This is gonna be a Varney tank car, Basol chemical tank car. Nice sprung trucks on this. Looks like all the details are there as well. Not bad at all. Here we have another pretty interesting freight car. I believe this might also be a Varney car. Nice Baltimore and Ohio hopper there. Can't say that I've seen this specific variety of this car before, but it looks pretty nice. Up next here is a unique one. I don't think I've had this one in the store before. This version of this car though. This is a Varney, yeah, definitely another Varney car. You can hear a weight rattling around in there, but it's another Great Northern box car. We had a few of those in the last video, but I don't think we've had this specific variation of that car come through yet, which is pretty cool. Let's move some of this decaying paper out of the way. And grab our next little package here. It is another Varney car, the Baltimore and Ohio Caboose. Fairly common piece, fairly common style of train car as well to have an HO scale, but not bad at all. Nice that it's got the chimney and all the detail on it. Up next is, let's see, I believe this is gonna be an AHM or River Rossi car. I'm not seeing the markings on there, but I believe that's gonna be a AHM box car. Nice Baltimore and Ohio wood-sided car there. Decent amount of separately applied detail on there for the era as well, which is pretty cool. Up next is a gondola. This is, again, is a pretty unique variation of this car. I've never seen this one before. Interesting things going on here on the bottom. I believe that's a Varney car though. Not bad, love that gray Southern Pacific style. Pretty common car at HO, but not too oversaturated. And last but not least, we have another AHM car. This is a New York Central reefer, or cattle car rather. Never had this one before either. Very cool. We've gotten a couple unique things there to start out this haul, which I'm totally here for. Here is a box for a Atlas small warehouse, but it is empty. Unfortunately, I think this kit may be built somewhere in this haul. I think that this was already been put together, and I believe we're gonna have another empty box here. Oh, actually, no. This has the kit in there. Fairly common little Atlas kit, the trackside shanty, but can't beat the classics sometimes. That is really cool. And I've always loved the box artwork as well on these old school Atlas kits. Happy to have that. I think it was new in box sealed as well. Looks like some kind of manual here or something. We'll try and find what that goes to later on. Up next, our first Athearn Blue Box of the haul. And it's a pretty cool one. Railway Express Agency reefer unbuilt kit there. Looks to be brand new. Love to see that. Here is another one that I've never seen before, another ATT kit. Nice Pennsylvania boxcar there. Looks great. Love getting Pennsy stuff like that in. Here is our first locomotive, and this is a very unique engine here. I've never seen this before. I'm not sure what brand this is. I'm not seeing, oh no, I'm seeing a marking there. Built in Britain. Is this maybe a very low-end Hornby engine? Somebody with greater knowledge of British trains is gonna have to let me know. I've never seen an engine like this before, but it's an interesting little 040. Nothing on this is separately applied. Very minimal engine here. I watched a video recently about a set, I think that was made by Varney, that was like meant to be crashed by kids and whatever. And this kind of reminds me of that. That's very unique. I can't say that I've ever seen that locomotive before. Up next, this is definitely going to be another engine, just judging by the weight. And I don't know if it's actually what goes inside that box or not. I don't think it is. Oh no, it is actually. Look at this. I've never seen this one before either. A Varney Baltimore and Ohio, maybe an NW2 switcher? No, this is not what is supposed to go inside that box, although it is a Varney engine. This is very unique. It's got the interesting drive shaft on here where when one truck turns, both of them turn. I'm not sure how well that actually works, but it's very unique, and it's a nice looking engine too. The paint's a little blurry on there, but it's really cool. I've never seen that engine before, so definitely a unique item, which is super, super cool. Here is an AHM box. Again, I'm not sure why what's in here is wrapped up if it's in the box, but that's okay. We're gonna open this up. The box says it's for a tank car, and that is exactly what's in there. The Therma Ice tank car. I believe we've had one or two of those before. That's a nice one. Nice kind of branded single dome tank car right there. Gonna put that back in the box. Set it aside here. Up next, some Tyco action. Fairly common one, but it's nice to have the load complete with it. Even the brake wheel has not been applied yet. The Western Maryland flatbed with those tractor loads there. Very classic piece. Here's a unique one, another one of those ATT cars. This is just a generic red caboose. I think I've had that caboose in, maybe not with the box, so that's fairly unique. Common little Penn Central hopper there. That one's, fairly easy to find. Another one of those Therm Ice cars, the reefer. Again, that's a fairly common billboard reefer for that range, but not bad at all. Here is a crane car. Really, really neat, lifelike. This one is, actually one of the better lifelike cars in my opinion. Some nice play value there. And probably one of my more favorite of like the common 80s cranes that a lot of these, sort of more toy grade HO sets would come with. I like that more than the Tyco one, I think. We have two cars in here, and I don't think that was how the manufacturer intended, but guess what? That manufacturer hadn't been around for like 30 years, so they aren't here to tell us it's wrong. There is one we've definitely had before, Rock Island wood-sided gondola. I think that's gonna be a IHC car. Yeah, I believe it's IHC. It says made in Yugoslavia on the bottom. I think that is where a lot of those cars came from. And here is an interesting falling apart. Unfortunately, I think we've got the screw right here for it though. This is a unique variant of this 4-truck flatbed by Bachmann. Typically we see the Great Northern, I believe, is the common variation of this. This is actually a Delaware and Hudson log car. Wow, the load on that's pretty cool. It's also got all 4 trucks complete there, which is nice. I don't think either of those actually went inside this. Oh no, it's an AHM car, not even a Bachmann car. AHM 16-wheel flat car, ready to run, made in Yugoslavia. Super cool. Never had that car before. I'm trying to think exactly what the more common variation of that we get is, but I can't put my finger on it right now. Got a couple Virginia and Truckee cars. This is a pretty rare version of this car, I believe. This light-up car by Lifelike. Usually it's just the common blue Santa Fe one. And then I'll go ahead and grab it now. We've got another Virginia and Truckee car, another work caboose. This is actually pretty cool. It's a nice little pair of a bit of an obscure railroad. So we're going to give Lifelike a pass on that one. They cooked there. I see some really cool things down there, but up first we have Green Bay and Western boxcar. Really cool. I've had that in N scale by Bachmann recently, I believe. But here is something I'm ecstatic about. I was just talking to one of my regulars the other day who worked for Ringling Bros. I told him I really wanted to get a circus train in the store, and this is exactly that. That's one of my favorite lifelike pieces there. That was an era of lifelike where they actually were cranking out some really cool items, and I see another cool item right here. The flatbed for that circus train. I believe it's a New York Central flatbed in there. And it's got that really cool load with the lion and the exotic cat of some sort in there, panther maybe. That's awesome. I'm so glad to have that in the store. Was just talking about wanting to get a circus train. Here's another lifelike engine, chassis system. Even though it's lifelike, you guys know how I love the chassis, and I can't fault them. That's a pretty sharp looking F unit there. Here's an AHM steam engine, an 040. The Baltimore and Ohio paint scheme. Very, very cool. And here is another car for that circus train. This one looks like it's branded as like Lifelike Circus or something, and it's got a really cool load on it. I'm a big fan of that. Guys, I'm thrilled about the circus train stuff in here. That is definitely the highlight of this collection so far, but we've got a lot to look at still, so plenty more chances for something even cooler to show up. And the last thing for this box is gonna be, unwrap it over here. The Hormel AHM Reefer. Not a bad way to end that box. There were some really cool items in there, guys. I'm very happy with that. We got a lot to look at though, so stay tuned. Let's check out the next box. All right, and here's box number 2. I believe we're gonna have mostly N-scale stuff in here with maybe some HO thrown in as well. I didn't really get to look through a lot of this stuff when I picked up this collection, so I'm excited to hopefully have some surprises for both of us in this box. Inside of this little cardboard box here, we got some parts and track nails to various N-scale supplies in there. Probably just gonna keep that as the box and sell it like that. And here is probably one of the dumbest model train accessories ever fathomed. I can't stand these pier sets. Oh, it's not even the pier set actually. Actually some decent little things in here. This is a little box of N-scale accessories. I see a little outhouse there. There's some actually pretty cool little N-scale vehicles in here. Got the signal bridge. I'm actually much happier that it's this stuff and not that pier set, because I feel like those pier sets never work right and they just look stupid. I'm not a fan of those, if you can't tell. Probably gonna end up in Worthless Trains Part 3. Here's a common lifelike kit, but I'm not actually sure if that's what's inside the box, but only one way to find out. And it looks like it actually is what's inside the box. Looks to be sealed too. The lifelike police station kit. I actually am running fairly low on HO buildings as of now, so I'm excited to have a couple buildings going in the store, even if it is lifelike. You know, not the worst building to have. Here is just a pack of that Atlas Snaptrack, the classic style that everybody has. Here's a cool little HO building. This is a Faller kit, one of the more German style European designs, but pretty cool, very colorful building. Looks to be sort of a switch station or something like that. Got a couple pieces of N-scale rolling stock down here. Happy to keep the N-scale stuff up. I've got a great N-scale video that I'm gonna film probably today of a really, really cool N-scale collection I picked up. But there's a couple postage stamp cars for us, Great Northern and Southern. Here is an N-scale uncoupling track, I believe. Yeah, remote uncoupler track. I've never seen that in N-scale. I can't testify to how well it works, but that's definitely cool to have an N-scale accessory. I don't get a lot of N-scale, you know, operating accessories like that. In this box, I believe we're just gonna have a lot of small little N-scale buildings, which to be fair, are all really, really cool. There's definitely some neat stuff down there, lots of buildings. These are all probably kits that were put together by the gentleman that owned this. Glad those were put together, glad those were wrapped good, rather, because those are very, very breakable little things. Got a little bit of a mixed bag in here. We got the Atlas Snap Saw. Interesting, that's, you know, new in box or in the original box. Very nice little Western and Atlantic Aurora old timer coach right there. And then it looks like in here we've got some just mixed accessories and things too, which is very, very cool. Up next is the lid to an ATT box. We're gonna put that aside. Maybe the thing that it goes with will show up later, I hope. In here is, first of all, we'll get this out of the way. Nice little Rio Grande cattle car there. Postage stamp trains, but here is a massive MRC twin power control, which looks to be either brand new or very close to new, because usually those things are very scuffed up. That brass finish on those scuffs very easily. Here is a pretty neat little Bachmann N-scale car, Penn Central flatbed with a container load. I usually don't get the Penn Central version of that, so I'm certainly fine with that. And then here is another Penn Central piece, F7 by Postage Stamp Trains. Very, very cool. Down here we have a couple die-cast pieces that I'm very excited about. These are actually made by Aurora as well, and it looks like these are actually slot cars, which is incredibly cool. Volkswagen there, and some kind of old, you know, wood-sided station wagon almost. Those are both very, very cool. I did not realize that those were slot cars when I saw them at first, but that is very, very neat. Something wrapped up in here, very curious. Looks like some switch controllers or stuff. A lot of that stuff, the kind of like old school switch controls and things, I feel like they're a little bit dated, but still cool to have in case that's something you're into. We'll grab a couple of these N-scale rolling stock pieces here. We got some common ones here, UP Caboose, Western Maryland Hopper. These are all Postage Stamp Trains items that we got in a recent video. You guys remember that. A little bit of a Pennsylvania diesel here by Atlas. It's a pretty common diesel tooling for N-scale, but still not bad at all. And a Shell tanker. Again, a fairly common piece of rolling stock, but not a bad example of it by any means. I see a couple more things of track down here. It looks like maybe that ATT lid went to this, I would assume it does, this ATT transformer here. I did not know that company was big enough to have like their own power packs and everything. That's definitely what that goes to. Very, very cool. Looks like everything else in here is, you know, fairly common accessories like the Tyco operating crossing that kind of just looks pretty goofy in my opinion. A little bit of a cheapy transformer there. I do transformers in my store for $5 a piece if they're just kind of the standard toy grade kind. Here is another lifelike kit. This one being N-scale actually, and it's a roller lift bridge. Whoa, never seen this in N-scale. That's pretty neat. It looks to be all taped up, so I'm assuming it's complete in there. We've got a lot of new in box track down here as well, which is great. I'm not going to go through all of it just because we all know what, you know, HO track looks like, but I will go ahead and grab these few straggling pieces of N-scale stock down here. A little Santa Fe flatbed with a load that I actually don't think goes to it, which is kind of funny. And then some kind of missile car or something. That is wild, isn't it? Yeah, quite a cool box there. I like that a lot of this stuff down here is new in box. Oh, I've got one more neat little thing down here I'll go ahead and grab. We got another Tyco operating accessory here. The Boston, Maine, actually that's not even the car it's included. It's this log car here. Unloading car set. This looks to be one of those common operating accessories for Tyco, which I used to have a bunch of, but I've gotten cleared out pretty recently. But this is certainly a cool example of that. All right, let's check out the next box. All right, looks like our next box is going to be some more vintage HO stuff. Seeing a lot of Atlas and things on top here. Looks like we have some kits to start off this box. These look to be unbuilt, brand new, which is pretty awesome. I love the artwork on these old Atlas kits. I actually don't think I've had this specific freight station come through before. Lumber shed with lumber, super, super cool. I wonder if it comes with that tractor. Grab this little N-scale station floating on the top here. Nice little detail on this. Some cool people. I think that's a Bachmann station, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Here is an AHM. I believe it's an N-scale Sandhouse. HO scale, my mistake. Here's a really cool AHM car. Nice Bakelite plastics covered hopper. Here's something a gentleman was just asking for the other day, and I didn't have, but now I'm well stocked on these. Brand new. Look at the package on these. I've never seen this Tyco package. Brand new. Telephone poles. And it looks like there's actually, is this one set or two sets? We got 4 sets of these, which is fantastic. A gentleman was just in the store asking for HO telephone poles, and I'm happy to report that I have them now. Here is another common Atlas kit. Telephone shanty and pole. Down here is the AHM farmland kit. Farmyard, rather. I've seen a lot of really cool new in box stuff I've never gotten sealed before. Look, this is crates, barrels, all sorts of little HO kind of detail pieces, and they're very, very cool. Never gotten that sealed. Here is the sand and pump house. Again, not sure I've ever gotten this one in the box. Here is one I've definitely had. The house is under construction. There's a cool AHM Morel reefer. I don't think we've gotten that Morel variant before, but it looks fantastic. I'm very, very happy with that. Here's a pretty common Bachmann Rock Island box car. That'll be only a, $3 or $4 car right there. I see like the old school Matchbox box right here, and I gotta see what's in. Look at this. This is awesome. I love the old school Matchbox stuff. Again, I just had a gentleman in the store that was looking for old school Matchbox. I do a lot of Hot Wheels and die-cast stuff too. This is certainly a very cool one. I love that it's got that nostalgic old school Matchbox box. How cool is that? Very nice little bonus there that I wasn't expecting. There's another cool die-cast piece here. Yeah, I love getting that kind of stuff. It's always cool when there's some extra bonuses thrown in with the train collections like that. Here are some signs. Once again, something we get a lot of, but never new sealed in box like that. Super, super cool. Very excited for somebody to come pick these up and add them to the layout. We even got a couple more really cute little Matchbox items here. How awesome are those? I love that I have those in the store now. That is super, super cool. Here's just some lichen turf and stuff, and some parts to a box. Another one of those Tyco operating car kits. This is the Virginian hopper variation. Interestingly, they show it with the 4-bay hopper on the graphic, but it's one of the shorter, stumpier kind of hoppers that they have. Super, super cool. More new in box signs. Stuff like this is just so cool to have. Stuff that was, you know, made gosh, probably 40, 50 years ago and is still brand new. Another really cool Tyco operated. First of all, look at that. They got a position light signal. I've never seen a Tyco box with a position light signal on it, but that is so, so cool. And it's still got both the little guys in there too to throw those boxes out. That is an awesome piece. These operating accessories are fantastic. Short Atlas Snaptrack sections in there. What is this big piece here? I'm super, super curious. I almost don't want to take this out because I know it's going to make a huge mess, but I want to see what it is. I've had one of these before. The Forest Lumber operating car. This one is complete though. Last time I got this, it was just the building with track piece, but that's actually the full complete set, which is fantastic. A couple more things in here. Just some of those stupid bridge pieces that never work. Got a common transformer. And then we got one more operating accessory here. One of the Tyco ones. This one being the log dump flatbed. Super, super cool. That was an awesome box. I'm thrilled with that. Let's keep it rolling. Let's see what we got next. All right, on to our next box here. We're getting towards the end of the HO stuff that was in this collection, but up first, we've got some Bachmann Spectrum pieces. I haven't had a ton of Spectrum stuff in the store so far. It's also, this box is very kind of hard to get open, but let's see what we got inside here. It looks to be a brand new Madison car. I believe it's Pennsylvania. I don't want to unwrap that because it's brand new, but it does look like it does say Pennsylvania on there. So we're going to leave that in the box just so we can keep it as new as it is now. Go ahead and put that back together. I believe this is going to be a duplicate or something to go with that set. Yep, another PRR observation car there. So we're not going to open that since that's probably also brand new in box. Up next is a Bachmann 060, one of their pretty common starter set engines. I actually don't mind these. They're pretty cool. Especially like the ones with the round, I think it's called a Vanderbilt tender. Is there a special name for those? I think there is. This one apparently has smoke as well. I don't think the Bachmann smoke units work super, super well, unfortunately, but certainly happy to have that in the store. Here is a Plasticville box with, yeah, look at that, 48 figures. Now these I'm not fond of. The figures that you have to paint yourselves, I don't see much appeal to those. I don't really think that they end up looking good ever. I much prefer the factory painted figures that we usually get. A couple N-scale kits by AHM here. Nice little farmhouse and 2 ranch houses there. I haven't really gotten a whole lot of AHM kits until this haul, so it's pretty cool to have something different in the kit world. There's some autumn trees by Lifelike, brand new in box. And some apple trees by Lifelike, also brand new sealed in the original box. Here is a whole bag of N-scale track and some of those really stupid bridge pillars that don't work. A couple of these track pieces look like they're in a little bit of rough shape, but most of them look pretty good. Here is a brand new, super common Lifelike car, but it is cool to get the pegboard display version new in box of the Swift Reefer. Here's something we got in the train store buyout video. This nickel plate flatbed with the airplane load by Ather and Blue Box. I know I already have sold the one that we got with that set. So pretty awesome to have a second one in that sold really, really quick. I think that was one of the first things we sold out of that train store buyout collection. So that's awesome. Here is another standard, very classic train set accessory here, the styrofoam tunnel. This one's been a little bit damaged, unfortunately, but that'll be very, very inexpensive for whoever wants to pick that up. A box of wires and insulated track joiners in there, nothing too crazy. There's some sealed lichen, also by AHM. Got a couple really interesting blue box things down here. Nice 50-foot MKT box car there. That looks very, very good. Gonna go ahead and put that back on there though. And this is a super unique one. I've never had this, I can guarantee you. Wow. First of all, there's like some fishing supplies in here. Not sure the story on that, but this is a Canadian National snowplow, one of the rotary snowplows that has I believe this actually is going to spin here too. How cool. And look, this is band driven, so it'll spin as the wheels spin. That is a great car right there. I've never had one of those Athearn snowblowers before, so that's super cool. Some Christmas lights in there. Some random wire. Down here we got a common Pocket Trains NCL car, the Carnation Milk reefer right there. And this is interesting. It looks like maybe a mini trick set is inside of this box, but unfortunately looks like the only thing in there is the track, and I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, or if this train was supposed to be in, it looks like a German design of some kind. Maybe that's floating around down here. Here's a Atlas box. Yeah, it looks like some Atlas building kits in here. I think it's a mixed bag, not all necessarily what came in there. So that's fine. We are totally cool with a mixed bag. And looks like everything else in here is just some kind of old school beater HO track. Nothing too exciting down there. I believe we talked about that in Worthless Trains Part 2. So nothing too crazy to write home about there. But another very cool box with some very cool items in it. Let's get on to the next items. All right, and here's what I'm pretty sure is the last selection of HO stuff from this collection. Then we're gonna get into the O scale, which is, in my opinion, probably the most interesting, most exciting stuff in this huge haul. But first, we have something I'm actually really happy to have. I sell a lot of Easy Track, but very rarely do I get it new in box because I buy pretty much like 99% of everything in my store secondhand from, collectors or other dealers or whatever. I don't always get new in box stuff, and track is really not common to have new in box, especially track like this, newer track. So really happy to have some Bachmann Easy Track new in the package here. And we've got a lot of it in here, if I'm not mistaken. There's 2 packs of the just standard straight track, and I like that it's the one with the gray road bed. I think that looks a little bit more realistic. Here is a brand new in box Pennsylvania GP35 Bachmann Spectrum. I'm not gonna open it because, like I just said, this is brand new in box. I don't want to change that. And I believe here we have a third one of those Pennsylvania coaches, also new in box, and maybe a 4th one here. Yeah, there's 4 of those total, which is super, super cool. Here are 2 things I've had a few of, I believe. These are like a Lionel Collector's line that they did back in the day. They're 1:120 scale, so they're about, about 00 scale maybe would be something comparable to that. But they're just kind of little die-cast models of engines in their line. These aren't worth a ton, probably, $10 each maybe or so. We've got a couple of them here. We've got the Santa Fe GP7, and we've got the New York Central F3. Both of those, of course, not being operational. They're just kind of like little decoration things, but they don't look half bad. So certainly not complaining. Down here at the bottom, we have a bunch more new in box Easy Track. Here is, first of all, it's really funny. Back when Bachmann ran TV ads, if you remember those days, a little bit of a crossover there. We've got some shorter straight tracks, and we've got 2 more packs of the standard, I believe those are, 9-inch straight tracks, I think. And then maybe, 1 more package of those, and 1 more package of those. And then we've got some loose track here as well, all being gray Bachmann Easy Track, which is great to have. I don't always get it new in box, and this all looks like it's in great condition. So very, very happy. Let's move on to some O-scale stuff now. All right, now let's get into the O-scale portion of this haul. This was definitely the stuff that really caught my eye. Really the reason I went down and got this collection was all this Lionel stuff. It's a little bit interesting how this is packaged up. So over here, let me move the camera really quick. You'll see I have a box full of Lionel boxes, train cars, etc. A lot of those cars that are in those boxes aren't in the right boxes, and I think some of the cars that go in those boxes are in this box. We have this whole Coast Guard set here. There's 3 boxes that are starter set boxes that have a bunch of train cars and track in them and stuff. And I think we have the whole complete sets, but they're a little bit disorganized how they're packaged up. So we're gonna sort of need to piece some things together here, but we'll just start with this first box here, this Lionel Coast Guard set, which is actually really, really unique. And as you can see, nothing off the top of here catches my eye as stuff that went with that set, but that's not a problem because I think it's all in different boxes. So we'll eventually complete the set, but for now we're just gonna go through these items here and I'll match everything up to where it should go off camera. Here's a nice K-Line boxcar, Ashley drew in Northern. Pretty obscure railroad, but K-Line's, not half bad, and that's a cool paint scheme to have on a boxcar. We have a lot of Alaska Railroad stuff to look at, which is cool because it'll match some engines that we'll get to in a little bit. And it's pretty sentimental to me because I have an Alaska Railroad set that my granddad bought me. We have 2 of these really nice Lionel 027 single dome tank cars here, both, of course, Alaska Railroad, as I just mentioned, which kind of go with some engines that we will get to in, I think, the next box. I'm not sure if these have the boxes off the top of my head. I don't think these were some that I saw the boxes for, but I could be wrong. Here is another one of those Alaska Railroad pieces that I mentioned. This is the typical 027 hopper. These logs, of course, don't go with this. I believe they go with this, which is a pretty common Lionel operating car, but anything Lionel operating is still pretty cool in my opinion. This is the log dump car in the Santa Fe paint scheme. It came with the Santa Fe Flyer set that I think is one of the other sets we have somewhere in here. Here is another car that is going to go with some engines that we're going to get to in a little bit. This is a Port of Lionel City caboose. I don't know exactly what was supposed to go in these sort of holders here, but we do have 2 Port of Lionel engines, which is kind of a weird little line they did. I guess like a Lionel lines almost kind of thing, which we'll get to in a little bit. Here's a car that I know we have the box for. Really nice 027 Norfolk and Western hopper. Here's a glove. It's not going to be sold in my store, unfortunately. Here's a New York Central caboose. I know we also have the box for this. I'm fairly certain that I saw that when I was quickly eyeballing everything earlier. There's the match to that glove. If anyone needs some gloves, hit me up, I guess. Here is an engine that goes with a set that we're going to get to. This is a Chevrolet promotional set. Not really a huge fan of the promo sets for, car dealerships and grocery stores and whatever, but if that's your thing, I'm going to have one here shortly. We're going to find a few more. Yeah, like this, for example, this car also goes with that set. This is actually not a bad car. I know I just said that I don't like promotional things, but this one's at least a little bit unique. The flatbed is definitely for that set, but this, I think, goes with that Coast Guard set, maybe? Not entirely sure. Yeah, looking at the box, it definitely does. It's a tractor trailer set that comes with that Coast Guard set. And let's see what else we've got in here. Off camera, like I said, I'll go through and organize everything. This is definitely part of that Chevy promotional set. This is the box car that goes with it. United Delco, another kind of billboard box car. Here we have the trailer that goes with that flatbed we just had, and this is definitely for that promotional set for Chevrolet. Here is a Lionel Lines, just standard bulkhead flatbed. I don't think that goes in any of these particular sets that I've been mentioning. I think that's its own car. I don't know if we have a box for it or not. And here's another one of those Port of Lionel City pieces, that being a trailer that I'm sure there's a truck for somewhere in here. Again, another Port of Lionel City car. This one is a Searchlight car, one of the classic Lionel operating cars, but cool to have it in kind of a one-off obscure road name. This, I'm gonna assume, is a load for something that goes with that Ford set. Here are 2 more flatbeds. Here's a crane car for the Port of Lionel City. I don't know if it was a set or if it was just an individual car. This definitely goes with that Santa Fe Flyer set. I've had a few of those come through the store before. I'm starting to think that there was some kind of Port of Lionel City set. I don't think we have the box for it, but this is like the 4th thing we've gotten that has that written on it. This is another operating car. This one is the thing that has a spinning kind of radar fan. Thankfully, the fan is in great shape there, as you can see. Super, super cool. Never had a car like that come through. Yeah, I'm fully convinced now there has to be some kind of Port of Lionel City set, because now we have the boat car as well Can't say that's the most convincing looking boat I've ever seen, but it's certainly cool. Very unique item. Never had that come through either. Never had any of this Port of Lionel stuff. In fact, super, super unique. And last thing over here is another piece to that Coast Guard set, a similar caboose model to that Port of Lionel City set we just saw. This time, though, of course, being Coast Guard. And that's a piece of the Santa Fe Flyer set. And then the rest of what we have in here looks to be all some track and accessory kind of things that I'll divvy up later. But let's get to the next box. All right, and here's our next box. In here, we have a lot of O-scale engines. I think these are going to answer some of our questions from earlier. Up first, here is the box for the Port of Lionel City B unit, which I think is going to be in this box. Here's the A unit for that set. I'm going to look up after this if these came as a set or if they were sold individually. But there's our Port of Lionel City A unit there, the powered one, of course. I believe the B unit's going to be a non-powered engine. Here's a loose box that I don't think, yeah, I think this goes to another car that we have in a different box that we're going to have to get to in a little bit here. But down here in the bottom, first of all, there's our Port of Lionel City B unit. Yeah, definitely a dummy locomotive, but it's great to have the AA set. Great to have something that all these Alcos usually have is one of these truck covers is usually missing, but thankfully none are on there, which is great. I know I mentioned earlier there were some Alaska Railroad engines in this collection, and here is one of them. Beautiful GP7, probably from like the early 2000s if I had to guess. I think it's going to have a blinking operating headlight on there. I believe it's got a horn and maybe some other sounds. I'm not entirely sure, but I'll take it to the test track, of course, and we'll make sure we know what's up with that. A couple more things down here. First of all, here is the U.S. Coast Guard engine for that set that we just saw in the last box. Different kind of engine. I had a Navy one in this NW2 style recently, and I don't often get military engines. Usually anything military or branch related is, you know, a freight car with a load at most, but certainly something different. And then last thing down here is the dummy of that Alaska. Actually, they're both powered. We have two powered Alaska GP7s, which is very, very cool. I thought that one was a dummy, but this one's definitely powered as well. So that's super cool. Now we have the engine for that Coast Guard set, and hopefully we can just keep answering some of these mysteries that lie within this train collection. So as I mentioned a minute ago, we have a Chevrolet dealership exclusive kind of set in here, and this is actually the box for that. As you can see there, we're gonna have the really common 442 with tender and a couple cars. We've seen a few of those pieces fly through this lot already, and I think there's a couple more in here, as well as a couple things for that Santa Fe Flyer set. Up first, this is definitely for that Santa Fe Flyer set. Super common Lionel boxcar, had a number of those come through the store. I don't think I have any currently though, which is so it's good to stock back up on those. Here is definitely a car that we have the box for that was supposed to be an individual car. State of New Hampshire, Security 76 car. Looks to be in great condition. That's one thing that's got to be said. A lot of the things in this haul are in like mint or near mint condition, which is great. Here's the 442 for the Santa Fe Flyer set. Super common 027 engine, but at the very least, it's reliable. It's got some good weight to it. Definitely, that's how I like starter sets to be done, much more than the lifelike style. Here's another car that we definitely have the individual box for. Nice Santa Fe reefer here. We've also got some various 027 track. This lot did come with a ton of 027 track. Here's a brand new sealed crossover, which is cool, especially because Lionel doesn't produce this kind of track anymore. So cool to have something new in box. And we've got a couple more things in here. Here's a car, Arex Sports Channel. I don't know if that goes with one of these sets or not. I don't think it does. That's another one of those spinning kind of beacon radiator cars though. And we've got in this grocery bag of glory here, we've got another one of those boat cars. This one is of course one of the Coast Guard ones. So we can definitely assume that we know which set that goes to. And we've got a few more things in here. This is the top to a caboose that I know I have the body for sitting somewhere. So we'll go ahead and pair that up with its mate later on. Got some proto smoke. I think this goes with that TV crew car. There's a part to that caboose, and then everything else in here I think is just parts to various sets. So I'll go ahead and divvy that up off camera. Let's go to the next box. Okay, and here is the last of these starter set boxes that I kind of was talking about earlier. This is the Santa Fe Flyer one, definitely the most common one of these three sets. I've had at least 3 or 4 of these in the store before. Probably one of like the most overproduced or, you know, saturated Lionel sets, but still, it's a classic. Perfect way to start in the hobby. As you can see on top, we have a lot of track. Now, a lot of this is going to go with those sets, and I'm gonna divvy this stuff up later. But right now, what I'm gonna do is get this track off the top here, and we'll get a look at some of these cars floating around down here on the bottom. All right, now that we've cleared out most of that 027 track, we can take a look at exactly what's going on here. First of all, we'll grab this box car here. This is another one of the Lionel Spirit of 76 cars. Had an older gentleman come in the store that was looking for all of these cars, and I don't think he had the Rhode Island one yet, so we'll definitely be reaching out to him and letting him know that we have that in stock. Up next, here are the 3 flatbeds that go with the Coast Guard set that we just talked about. There's our spinning kind of cell radiator thing. I have no idea what that thing's called. And here is the searchlight. Wire is disconnected there, but we can definitely fix that. And here is the crane car. And now, judging by what I'm seeing here, I'm starting to figure out what was going on in this set with these Alaska cars. And what I think we had is 2 duplicate Alaska Railroad starter sets, because I'm pretty sure they made a set with those GP7s. And look, we have 2 of the cabooses. We had 2 of the tank cars. And after this box, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, look, here is a duplicate of the other 2 cars. So I think that there are 2 Alaska Railroad starter sets in this collection, but we just don't have the boxes for them. So that's my little hunch of what's going on with those Alaska cars. But nonetheless, very happy to have those. Keep this lot going and move on to the next box. All right, here is that box of cars I was talking about that are in boxes, but they aren't necessarily the right ones. We're just gonna rattle through these really quick. Mona Lisa box car, definitely a very unique one. Never seen that before. This box is for a New York Central reefer, but inside of it there is a Santa Fe one. So we're gonna have to switch that out with something. I've already gone through and switched out a few cars that had the wrong boxes or whatever. There's a UP tool car. I think that's, yeah, wrong box. That one needs a Western Maryland box car in it. There's the Western Maryland box car in a Marconi. You didn't hear that. Box car box. Here are some of the parts from those starter sets. We're gonna need to go put those in there. This box is supposed to have Channel 7 AirX Sports Channel. We have that car. That's one of those spinning radiator cars. Here is a Texas and Pacific reefer in a Santa Fe reefer box. Here is another one of those Alaska Railroad box cars that we think came with one of those starter sets. Here is a classic Lionel accessory, the rotary beacon tower. Here is a really, really cool Seaboard box car. This is a nice Sunoco tanker. I believe that is, yeah, it's in the right box. So that one does not need any help. We'll go ahead and put that over there. Here's an empty box that needs a Seaboard box car. Here is the box for that Rhode Island car, and that has that New York City Lights box car in it. We just saw the box for that here. This is a Endangered Species Preservation Tour box car. Cannot say that I've seen that before either. That's definitely a unique one. Here is a really cool Canada covered hopper. I don't think that's the right box though. That needs a cotton belt car in it according to the side. Here is the tender for that Santa Fe set. Got a little Seaboard box car floating around in there. I think that goes in the box that we just saw. Here is a cotton belt gondola, which I think we just saw the box for down there. This is the Texas and Pacific boxcar box with a Seaboard boxcar in it. Yeah, just a couple more things in here. A reefer in there. I don't think that's the right box, but this thankfully is floodlight tower. So as you guys can see, I'm just gonna do a little bit of puzzle piecing right now and try to get this stuff all in the right area, and then we will look at the last few items in this collection.